In this video, we will look at an on-farm example where Veltyma fungicide was applied just in time to save a corn crop from tar spot. Before we look at the results that we saw in this field, let's set up some of the background. Using the planting date and the growing degree day modeling, we could see that Veltyma fungicide was applied at the R2 growth stage, which was August 6th. When we also look at the risk of tar spot in this area based on data from the Tar Spotter app, we can see that from the time this corn was approximately V8 right through to harvest, there was a high risk of tar spot infection. If we make the assumption that corn becomes susceptible to tar spot at the VT timing, this corn was at least 19 days into a full-blown tar spot infection before the Veltyma fungicide was applied on August 6th.
The interesting thing with this field is there's a power line that runs north and south just maybe 100 feet from the edge of the field. The plane flew east to west in its flight path, and you can see as the plane approached these power lines, it lifted up and turned off the application, and we have a clear line of corn that is falling down and corn that is standing. So where Veltyma was applied, the corn is standing beautifully, and where the plane did not apply Veltyma, the corn is, well, you can see the tops are breaking off. The grower was so concerned about standability, he took the headlands and untreated areas of the field off a few days ago.
Knowing that we have that large untreated area, we can clearly see some interesting things when we start looking at the NDVI. By the time the corn reached R3, which was only 9 days after the fungicide was applied, that untreated area of the field is starting to lose green color, indicating those tar spot infections are ramping up and negatively impacting the corn. By the time that untreated corn was at the R4 growth stage, so late in August, the NDVI is showing a brown color, which indicates it's basically dead. And we know that that corn did not reach black glare. It was killed by tar spot. We could see it was falling down in early September with no stalk integrity. And the yield map clearly shows a huge difference between where Veltyma was applied and that untreated area on the east side of the field.
When we look at standability, so here we're looking at these untreated plants, the tops are breaking off. If we just push a little bit with that stick, you can see there's no stalk integrity whatsoever. The tar spot infections shut down the plant. The corn was trying to fill and just completely robbed the stalks of any integrity. So here we'll just you just touch them, literally touch them with the stick, and you can see they're all breaking off. The tops are already broke off. So now, this is the untreated corn. If we walk in here a little bit, we clearly see a definitive line here where the corn starts standing versus not standing. So right in line with this power line. Once we get into the corn where the Veltyma was applied, first thing you'll notice is we can start to actually see some green tissue remaining on these plants. And we look down the rows, corn is just standing beautifully.
Looking at this Veltyma treated corn, it's very evident there is a lot of tar spot on these leaves. Remember, the Veltyma in this case was applied almost 3 weeks after tar spot infections would have started. The fungicide is not going to cure existing lesions. It's only going to stop new infections from happening, which it has done. That's why we have great stalk integrity and standability, and ultimately had much better yield than when the untreated was. But we have to remember, there comes a point in time when a fungicide application was going to be too late to save the crop. And in this particular case, we were getting very close, likely within 5 to 7 days of that point of no return, based on what we saw in the untreated. We can see the standability is very good in this corn, and the yield was very good. The grower was exceptionally happy with the performance of Veltyma.